am Dena, and I want to welcome you to another discussion with Dena. Um, Anybody else noticing the huge number of businesses that are closing or laying off workers in your town, your city, and all around the country, nationally? It seems to be that layoffs and store closures are happening very swiftly these days, and there is no real conversation in the media or from politicians or people in general as to why this is consistently happening at the rate that we are seeing it today. Now, whenever we hear the number of job loss, we must remember that each one of those jobs represent a person, but not only that, but a job loss can affect an entire family. It is something that we often seem to overlook. There are people with needs behind these very huge numbers that we are witnessing. We see one individual when it is represented to us, but really we have no idea how many people that this one individual can be responsible for supporting, and that can be disastrous. Now, are we in a recession, or can we call this a depression that we are going into? It is scary to see the number of people that have lost and are maybe aware that they're going to lose their job. And I don't think people are being honest with what it is that we are witnessing. We see people that have been directly affected by the loss of jobs. These large businesses are shutting down. Can we have a real conversation about that? Republicans and Democrats. And what exactly is your plan to deal with this issue? People are just sick of hearing the same old song and dance where promises lead to nothing of significance or tangible. You don't want to hear this same old the economy is increasing, is getting better, and inflation overall is making a turn. It may have attempted a turn, but it ended up driving off the side of the road because, again, I am not seeing improvements in my area. If you are, please share it with me. Some people are just comfortable blaming store and business closures on a change in consumer trends, and quite honestly, I say it has to do with this super inflation. Costs are simply out of control for everything today. It is now cheaper to just buy a six-pack of soda pop instead of one individual. They are $2.99 for a drink. And a six pack of soda is like what, $3 or $4? Maybe five. Changing consumers' trends are falsely being blamed, and it is said to be prompting closure of thousands of stores and businesses around the country. Reportedly, about 3,200 physical retail stores have closed its doors alone this year, 2024. This is according to an analysis that was done by a retail data provider called CoSite that tracks store closing and store openings in this country. Just this week, in my neck, well, I'll say last week, in my neck of the woods, all of the Popeyes and Red Lobsters shut down. They simply closed their doors. They didn't give any advance notice. There are just so many abandoned buildings as you drive around today because the businesses simply fold, some without prior announcements. You just go there and they are gone. So I ask the question, are we in recession, or are we headed into a deeper depression? The struggle is real out here. I read where Foot Locker had announced that it planned to close up to 400 locations by the end of 2025. That Walgreens, and of course, in last June, they announced that they were going to close approximately 150 locations, and this would be done by fall of this year. Reporting a loss of more than $11 million. Red Lobster locations, a lot of them, they closed permanently and abruptly. Applebee's closing 35 locations around the U.S. Journey Footwear plans to close 100 locations in fiscal 2024. Even Walmart has locations that are expected to close, and there are expected layoffs to come. The company closed a total of 24 locations in 2023 due to poor performance. And they announced that they plan to close two more in San Diego. Now, Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen has closed most of its stores right here in Central Georgia, and this was done abruptly. I did, however, read online that a 17-unit Popeyes franchise based in Georgia filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. There was no prior knowledge of the business being closed. It's just closed. And I have to say, though, these were a lot of new locations that just came online. So it's questionable what is happening. What are we witnessing? But I still say that Popeye needs a new business practice when it comes to customer service. Now, the Dollar Tree, as we know, is closing a massive number of stores across the entire United States. Um, Reports say about 1,000. And Rite Aid already has filed for bankruptcy, and it plans to shut 150 underperforming pharmacy locations down, in addition to 10 stores that was planned to close across California, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and New York. CVS Pharmacy retail chain plans to close, 900 retail stores, as well as it is planning to also close dozens of pharmacy locations that are inside of Target stores. And TJ Maxx had already announced the closure of its New York and one of its Chicago locations. But what about Amazon? There are and have been layoffs, and they are still expected in 2024. But in January, Amazon had said that it planned to eliminate 18,000 corporate and technology jobs in an attempt to cut costs. There are also other tech giants that are cutting back as well, like Microsoft, Google, and Meta. Sometimes I go in my local hardware stores, and I can honestly say I feel like I am the only one in the store, the only customer. But even so, when I'm the only one in the store, these employees still can't help me because for some reason, these people in that department do not actually work in the department that they're in, because they are just standing in for another employee. And that person just happens to be gone for the day. So they really don't know how to help me or answer my question. At this point, they just literally hiring bodies, because no one can ever actually answer your questions anymore in these stores. They just standing in for people that never come to work during the store hours. These persons are never there, or when they are there, they say that they are busy helping another customer. Y'all, do better. In 2023, nearly 2,000 tech companies made significant layoffs that resulted in over 260,000 tech workers being put out of a job. And the cuts continue even today. 81,000 employees were laid off already in 2024. Macy's plans to close 5 stores in 2024. They had reportedly already closed 4 locations as of last year. Now, Office Depot in our town closed down, and it left town. Staples still hanging in there, but it remains to be seen if it will stay afloat. Target also closed in our town a few years ago, and I like Target. I really don't know why Target closed, because they were making money. You just never know. Now, Best Buy closed approximately 20 to 30 locations last year and plans to close 15 annually as a part of its strategy to adapt to so-called change in retail dynamics. They never got what you need in stock in these stores anymore. Anybody notice that? They're always telling you, go online. And 9 times out of 10, it is the wrong thing when you go online and purchase items, so you end up going to these stores. Bath and Body Works, it closed about 50 stores located in malls last year. Bed Bath and Beyond shut down after filing for bankruptcy last April, closing 360 stores. A total of nearly 900 closed in 2023. Its assets were said to have been acquired by Overstock and that they are selling merchandise through them. Now, Tuesday morning, oh, that's my baby sister's favorite store. It went out of business and all their stores were closed. Then we have Tesla, who on May 7th entered its fourth week of layoffs. Most recent layoffs affected teams in software, engineering, and services. Layoff.fyi graph states that Tesla has conducted the largest number of tech layoffs since the pandemic in 2020. Cisco cut 4,000 employees in February, or 5% of its workforce. Apple has cut over 600 employees following the closure of its self-driving electric vehicle project, including shop managers, hardware engineers, and designers. UPS announced they plan to cut 12,000 office jobs. BlackRock eliminated 600 positions, as well as IBM, who paused the hiring of 7,800. Why? Due to AI, is what they are saying. Goldman Sachs also forecasts that AI software could automate the equivalent of 300 million full-time roles globally by the year 2030. But we have to be honest with ourselves at this point. AI is getting there, but all of the kinks have yet to be ironed out as companies try to discover ways in which to justify the extremely high cost of actually implementing and obtaining AI. And this is why some people believe that many of these failed businesses and organizations are using this AI replacement to conveniently cover for layoffs that are a result of just bad business practices, bad business management, deteriorating economic conditions, and plain old struggling businesses. Because many companies themselves are reportedly still trying to learn how to use and once again how to implement artificial intelligence. And executives are reportedly anxious about its use because of the risk of what's called hallucinations. And what is hallucinations? It is when artificial intelligence software produces sometimes dangerously inaccurate information. But of course, we do not want to talk about that part now, do we? The truth is, AI will need and require co-pilots, as it was written in the article that I read. It seems that uncertainty and disruption is the order of the day. And yes, I agree with those who say that the government should eliminate tax incentives that encourage businesses to use this artificial intelligence to replace workers rather than strengthening their workforce. We should all be concerned for what we are witnessing and be very concerned about this uncontrolled super inflation and what lies ahead for everyday people if we continue on this projected course. I am even seeing real estate and housing showing signs of cracking, and the credit system is already a mess. But the question is, what can we expect, or when can we expect to pull the umbrella down and put it up? Because the clouds are indeed getting darker and not revealing that beautiful blue sky some of these politicians insist on painting for us in hopes of getting our votes or for them to get re-elected. But they just keep trying to paint this picture that, hasn't revealed itself, if you catch my drift. So again, I ask the question, are we in a recession or is this a deepening depression? And where do we go from here? How do we stabilize? Subscribe and let me know what is going on in your neck of the woods in the comments section. I want to thank you for listening, and I invite you to join me next time for another discussion with Dena. Ta-ta!
This concludes the daily discussion with Dena. Join us Monday through Friday at 12:30 p.m. Like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment.